Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a Hearts of Iron 4 tier list. We are going to be rating all of the majors to my personal opinion and giving a little spiel on each one. Now this is the majors list on the Hearts of Iron 4 wiki, so let's get right into it. We'll start off with Germany. These guys can pretty much do anything. If you were going to do a world conquest, this would be the country to start doing those with. You can pretty much take over anybody throughout most points of the game. Really powerful country, probably the most powerful country in the entire game by quite a stretch. As far as fun, they are a lot of fun. I would say I main them, so it kind of gets old. I like to switch it up. But yeah, there's so many different routes you can go. If you want to speed run a certain country, you can most certainly do that with Germany. And not too many people will stand in your way, so I would rate this for sure an S tier. Next up, we've got the United Kingdom. These guys here, for quite a while I didn't touch them too much, but I found out if you swing their politics and turn them fascist, they are actually a really potent country. If you go fascist as the United Kingdom, you can easily swing in to mainland Europe, take out Netherlands, Belgium, run down, hit France, and then by that point you're gearing up to be able to take out Germany and Italy. It's a good country for doing that. I haven't ever went across the Atlantic and tried to take out the US until after I take care of Europe. So I'm not sure what there is as far as how many different strategies you can do and different places you can go with like Germany, but it is most certainly fun. The only problem I have with Great Britain, typically I never ever play games where I stay democratic, but trying to swing them communist I feel like it's lacking. It takes much longer than when you swing them fascist, and you've got more repercussions for swinging them communist. I don't feel like they're nearly as strong, but the country as a whole, it is strong, it is fun to play, definitely has a pretty high replayability. I think we'll put it in, this is a tough one because I want to say A tier, but I feel like it should almost be B tier. I think we'll go ahead and put it in A tier. You know, the ratings on these is between how good the country is, how fun it is, and the replayability with the different scenarios you can get into with it. Now, of course, that's all just my opinion. Next up, we have France. Now, if you swing France fascist, they can become really powerful. I feel like used to they weren't this powerful, but here recently they have just been on fire. I've been able to do quite a lot with them. You can shoot up, I like to shoot up north and take out Belgium and the Netherlands, and then shoot on over and take out, you know, sometimes Italy, but usually I ally them because it's in the fascist focus tree if you go down that way. But usually I like to swing over and hit Germany after I take out the Netherlands and Belgium, or sometimes I'll swing over and hit the UK and then Germany. But yeah, they're pretty doggone powerful. If you want a little bit of a harder run, you can go communist with them. But the problem with that is, depending on how the Spanish Civil War goes, you may be looking at some trouble because your closest allies is going to be, you know, Soviet Russia, of course. So they're not nearby, they can't really help out a whole lot, and that's especially if Germany doesn't strike Poland. But in terms of power, oh man, this is a tough one. You know, it's interesting because it takes a while for everything to spool up, but once things get going, it's a really powerful country. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and put them in B tier, just because of how long it takes for them to get going. Because for a good portion of the game, you're going to be building up, military factories. You only start out with 6. Your government is disjoined. Your economy is shit. You've got a bunch of negative modifiers. You've got the victors from the Great War modifier. That one hurts a lot. Of course, there's ways to get rid of all the modifiers. It's just going to take time, and sometimes time is not something you have when you've got a good Germany player, Alright, next up is Italy. These guys are interesting. I really like Italy. They're super fun in my opinion. There are quite a few different strategies you can do with them. If you're wanting to lie low, you can kind of shoot over through Yugoslavia and Greece and get on into Turkey, get Albania through the focus tree and kind of scoot out to the Middle East that way. Or you can ally France if they go fascist, and then swing north and get on into Germany. They can be really, really powerful. They don't have any negative modifiers when it comes to their economy, government, military force. They're all around pretty daggone good. I think what we're going to do with these guys, lots of different things you can do with them, and that's why I'm going to put them in the B tier but ahead of France. I feel like they have, and the main reason for that is because you have more options for places to go. With France, you're really looking at just going north and then east, or north and then west. With these guys, you can go north, west, and east. You've got all kinds of places to go. Alright, Japan. Out of the bunch, this is probably the country that I have the least amount of experience with. And the reason because that is, I don't like fighting in Asia. I feel like when you fight in Asia, you're getting pulled away from the big war. You're not gonna be touching, duking it out with Germany or, France, Italy, none of those guys. Maybe the Asian sphere is something that you guys might enjoy, but, for me, it's not there. I feel like I'm being pulled away from the main fight. And even if you go up and swing at the USSR, it's going to take you forever to cross that barren wasteland, because they really don't have a whole lot in Asia. Resource-wise, buildings-wise, factories, of course. So it's just kind of a slow burn all the way to Moscow, and it's just not something that I find fun. If we talk power-wise, these guys have quite, they're all right. I never tried to cross the Pacific and go for the US and been successful. I'm sure it can be done. It just seems to me to be very, very difficult. Swinging into Asia, depending on who allies who, it can also be very, very difficult, and it can take a long time to get anything done. So for these guys, I would say they're D tier. I just gotta put them there. Next up, we've got the Soviet Union. Now, these guys recently got a DLC, and of course, my opinions are based with having all of the DLC, so that's kind of where I'm basing my opinion. These guys pre-DLC was an absolute powerhouse. I would have put them in S tier. After the DLC, I feel like you really got a lot to mess with them kind of splitting apart and having to deal with the politics, and yeah, I just don't feel like they're nearly as powerful anymore. They're still incredibly powerful, but there's a lot of hoops you gotta jump through. In my opinion, it takes them a little while to get going. Not near as bad as France, but you're gonna have some negative modifiers for a while. Just keep that in mind. So for the Soviets, as far as places you can go a heck of a lot of places. You can strike Southern Europe, you can strike Northern Europe. If you want to go down through the Middle East, you can do that. Shoot over and fight Asia and build, an incredible highway with great infrastructure all the way to Asia and move your force out there. That's doable. These guys have so many different things you can do. It's insane. Now that we have the No Step Back DLC, we've got all kinds of stuff that you can do internally as well. So for these guys, hey, I gotta put them up here in A tier. They're not as powerful as Germany in my opinion, but they're close. If they wouldn't have all the hoops to jump through, they would definitely be as powerful. You've got a lot of places you can go with these guys, and it's a load of fun in my opinion. Finally, we've got the USA. Now this is a really, really interesting country, and it's one where opinions might vary quite a bit. If you're, say, a newer player, you can play this country and fortify well, and you can survive no problem. You don't have to worry about getting knocked around. Nobody's gonna come beat you up. It's a good island country is what I would call it. However, if you are maybe an intermediate or an advanced player and you want to get in the shit, this is a tough country to play, and that's for a number of reasons. Kind of like France, you've got negative modifiers out the ass. You're in the midst of, just terrible economic time, especially for the military. It just takes a while to get this baby moving. I think if they're not patched, there might be a few ways you can kind of cheese your way out of the economic situation. But I don't really like cheesing my way out of things. In terms of difficulty, depending on what you're doing, it could be either super easy or super hard. You're gonna have a tough time, especially if you want to get in the shit in Europe and switch to something like fascism. It's gonna take a long time. It's gonna be hard to cross the ocean, depending on, who's who. I'm not sure I would recommend it. I don't know. I would say these guys are probably C tier. That sounds about right. They're not nearly as weak as Japan, but it does take some time to get things spooled up. If you're running, a really long game, and you're going to be playing till like 1945, and you stay democratic, these guys can be an absolute powerhouse. I just feel like there isn't a whole lot of options to contribute to the global scale of the game. These guys are very centralized, kind of like Japan, and it's tough to get into Europe. If you're not democratic, of course. So there you guys have it. We've got Germany S tier, the Soviet Union on A tier, United Kingdom, Italy, France, USA, and Japan bringing up the rear at the D tier. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see any other tier lists for Hearts of Iron, let me know in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.